recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
I mean, I've seen other heavy metal bands, and I think we're the best. We are the best.
Welcome to Machino Music, the show that puts some music in Machino music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music, we're breaking the law. It's Judas Priest, 80's album ranking. Okay, here we go. Judas Priest, 80's album ranking. One of the biggest bands in the world. And now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, under the musical excellence category. Sure, as Rob Halford so positively looked at it, a victory for heavy metal. But the thing is, why not? Their whole band just induct them with the rest of the inductees. What's the problem just putting them with the rest of the class and putting them in some other category? But that's a rant for another day. But huge band, one of my all-time favorite bands, amazing heavy metal band. Really were the first band to be all metal all the time. That was Judas Priest. Debut album, 1974. That was a starting off point, and then they just started becoming the force, as we would know them, the mighty Judas Priest. So we got a few albums to go through here. Okay, starting at the bottom, I think this is everybody's bottom. Turbo, 1986. This was the foray into glam metal, trying to do the hair metal thing, trying to get on that. I never replaced my cassette copy. I mean, no, I don't think it's good enough to, get a CD or even really a vinyl for that matter. The album cover's not cool enough to want to have on vinyl. But, it's just one of those albums. I mean, did it work for Judas Priest? No. I mean, most of the bands, like Kiss transitioned well into the hair metal thing. Alice Cooper transitioned to the hair metal thing quite well. But Judas Priest, not so much. They're just not one of those bands that could really do it. I mean, some hits on here, Turbo Lover. That was a big hit. They play it live now, everybody goes nuts. I mean, it's okay, but still, it's not Judas Priest. Private Property. Actually, I think the best song on here is Out in the Cold. That's a really cool song. That big synthesizer intro on it, that's really cool. I really like that. And it's a pretty heavy tune. It kind of sounds like, more or less like classic Judas Priest. But, just not so good. It's kind of on the bottom of everybody's Judas Priest list. Even if you're ranking the entire catalog, this one's probably going to end up somewhere at the bottom. But, yeah, take it or leave it. Next up, very similar album, 1988, Ram It Down. Now this one is, continuing on to the hair metal, glam metal thing. But it's also got some, a bit more of the classic Judas Priest sound. This is the last one before Painkiller, where they came roaring back, saying, okay, you forgot that we knew how to rock, how to be Judas Priest. Well, here we are with Painkiller. This one, it was just the kind of the transitional album, like, okay, this commercial thing's not working. But they have some heavier tunes on here. I mean, the title track, Ram It Down, is great. I love that tune. Hard as Iron is actually one of my favorite Judas Priest songs. I love that song. That is heavy. Probably the heaviest song in this album. And like I said, it's one of my favorite Judas Priest songs. Blood Red Sky's not bad. I'm a Rocker. I mean, is it a great song? No, but as far as like some of those proclamation songs that you get with a lot of rock bands, heavy metal bands like I'm a Rocker, you know, saying, proclaiming yourself to be the music that you are. That one's not bad. I don't mind I'm a Rocker. The worst on here though, Johnny Be Good, their cover of the Chuck Berry classic. Not good. Absolutely horrible. But you know, you have to kind of, you know, give it maybe a little bit of a break. It was done for a movie. The 1988 Anthony Michael Hall, Robert Downey Jr., and I believe a very young Uma Thurman. But yeah, it was done for that movie called Johnny Be Good. Pretty bad movie. But, you know, it was all about, you know, getting a song on a major movie soundtrack. I mean, that was the thing for them. To get a song in a major motion picture, of course. Of course you're going to do that. But, you know, Judas Priest just doing it for the check, doing it for the money? Nah, didn't work. So yeah, that one's not good. Johnny Be Good, not good. But yeah. So Ram It Down, actually not bad album, but, you know, kind of take it or leave it. Next up, actually I couldn't find my copy. Blew my stack looking for it, so hell, I'll wear my shirt of Point of Entry, also point up to it. This is a good album. I actually really like Point of Entry. Actually has another one of my favorite Judas Priest songs. A bit of an odd one to have as your favorite Judas Priest song, was one of my favorites. It's a song called Turning Circles. I really dig that song. I like that guitar intro. It's really different sounding. I mean, it sounds like Judas Priest, but there's a bit of that just kind of a different sound to it. And I like that opening guitar riff. Kind of like a ska reggae kind of thing. I know it's kind of weird talking about Judas Priest, but I don't know, I always really like that tune. I like just the arrangement of it, just really, really like it. And there's some other good tunes on here. That was a big spit I just did right there. Troubleshooter, I really like that song. That's really cool, got a really cool drum intro. Great song for problem solving. Troubleshooter. Heading Out on the Highway, that's kind of the hit. They still play that live occasionally. But yeah, Point of Entry, good album. And I always would like the album cover. It's really cool. I could still be pointing up to him, just pointing at my shirt. Alright, continuing on. This was kind of the big breakthrough. From 1980, British Steel. This could have been higher, but I thought, you know, you'll know when I start talking about my favorites. This one had to rank somewhere. I mean, this is a really good album. This is kind of the big breakthrough. This is kind of where like everyone was like, okay, Judas Priest. You know, they had some big hits on here. I mean, Breaking the Law, that's a big tune. Living After Midnight was the first commercial tune. That's still a huge one. They play that one live, gets everybody going. Very, very much I mean, if you didn't know it was Judas Priest, you could think like, hey, that's just a great rock tune from any other band. But yeah, love it. Rapid Fire, Grinder, The Rage, I always really like that one. Steeler, yeah. Great album. And a classic album cover. There's a crack in that. Wow. Didn't realize there's a crack right across that. But yeah, really cool. Love this album. Okay, we're in the top two, everybody. Now these could flip-flop. So, kind of, I don't know. This is what I'm going with today. For this. From 1984, Defenders of the Faith. Now I often say, I even did a video early on, I think the second episode, talking about my favorite albums by my favorite bands. And this was my favorite Judas Priest album. That's what I said on that. Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith. Changed my mind. I mean, I don't know. I love this album. I mean, so many great songs. Freewheel Burnin', Jawbreaker, The Sentinel, Eat Me Alive. Night Comes Down, one of my all-time favorite Judas Priest songs. Love that one. So good. A lot of people kind of dump on, I don't know, I've heard people dumping on the song Some Heads Are Gonna Roll. I actually dig that tune. I don't know what's wrong with it. But yeah, it's a good tune. I really like that one. It's just a great album. And this has a bonus track. This particular remaster has a bonus track called Turn On Your Light, which I guess was like an unfinished ballad, but sounds great. Judas Priest didn't do a lot of ballads. This is a beautiful, beautiful ballad. Fantastic tune. I always loved that one. Actually, my old college radio show, I played Turn On Your Light. Probably the only time anybody in the history of radio played Turn On Your Light, because I just love that tune. But yeah, this is just, I mean, album cover, classic. I mean, this is just an all-time classic heavy metal album. But of course now you know what my number one is, and why it can flip-flop. Screaming for Vengeance. And I listened to these again, and I just thought, man, I love this one. I mean, this is the first Judas Priest album I heard. This is what really got me into Judas Priest. First Judas Priest album I really read about, where I thought, wow, I gotta hear this. I mean, just everything from that intro, the Hellion, that awesome intro, right into Electric Eye, awesome, Riding on the Wind, Bloodstone, another one of my all-time favorite Judas Priest songs. I love that riff, I just love the whole vibe of it, everything's so great. Take These Chains, title track, of course. Of course, the big hit on here was You've Got Another Thing Coming. Great. And there's like the two different videos, but the best video is the one where the guy explodes. But yeah, this is just such a phenomenal album. I mean, it's like, I mean, it can flip-flop, but just, this is what I'm going with today. Screaming for Vengeance. I mean, like, every song in this is pretty great. It's just one you can put on, just not want to skip it, not want to skip anything. It's so good. So, yeah. That's my number one. And that's how I rank the Judas Priest 80s catalog. Big Judas Priest fan. I know a lot of people watching are probably big Judas Priest fans. I mean, they're just one of those bands. They're just so huge. They're so influential. I mean, you got your kind of your big three that started heavy metal: Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple. That's kind of your big three that kind of got the ball moving. Judas Priest was the first one to come along to be just all metal all the time. Like when you look at heavy, and they created the look of heavy metal with the leather and the spikes and they just looked cool and just made really cool heavy music, really kicked the whole thing off. And also one of the great icons, Rob Halford. I mean, not only is he a heavy metal icon, he's an LGBTQ icon. And that's just fantastic. So it's just groundbreaking in so many ways. I'm a big Judas Priest fan, and if you are, I hope you enjoyed this. That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying good journey.